Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. We are taking a trip down memory lane. She is craving a Mr. Misty, and we don't eat that much sugar anymore and whatnot. But the timing is actually interesting because we both believe that everything happens for a reason and things are fortuitous. And so I was listening to Dr. Atia talk about the physique and bodybuilding and how bodybuilders get down to those insanely low numbers of body fat and how they change their physique. I mean, honestly, I would like to change my physique a little more. And I've noticed that when I go to ride my bike, that my wind isn't there. And so tonight's talk is about exercise and fitness and the differences and the similarities. But they actually talked about a thing called the Ninja Creamy. And basically, you can get good, clean protein powders. You can use a nut milk like a cashew or an almond or whatever, and you put this in there and then you blend it with that, and then it makes actually great ice cream, supposedly. So we'll have to figure it out. But let's talk about the differences between fitness and actually being healthy, because they talked about that actually in Dr. Atia's thing. Do you have any comments on the differences between fitness and health?
Fitness doesn't actually equal health. You can be skinny and fit but not be healthy.
That's very true. A lot of triathletes, which I've had a myriad of coaches through my career as a triathlete and a racer. And you can actually, what she said hits dead on the spot. You can actually be very fit. If you're a bodybuilder, you can be very lean, but that's not necessarily healthy. So fitness is just basically how much exercise can you do. And I noticed just in myself with getting back on the bike and running and lifting weights that my wind is gone. My fitness is really low, but fitness is trainable. You can bring that back. And I generally, if you're going to compete, get a coach, get somebody who's going to do the programming for you so that you just go out and do it. Otherwise, if you want to be fit, they basically say fitness and health. If you want to be healthy fit, you should have about 180 minutes, 3 hours of exercise a week at a pretty rigorous pace. If you want cardiovascular fitness, you should exercise that 3 hours basically in a what they call a zone 2. And so zone 2 is a heart rate. And if you don't have heart rate monitors and stuff like that, basically, if you're walking or running, you're going at a pace that makes you take breaths in between. That's a zone 2. You don't want to be out of breath, and you don't want to be to where you can't talk, but you want to just have that little bit of labored breathing with a cadence in your breath. And that's just to kind of keep you minimally fit and minimally healthy. To be healthy, what do you think affects health and physique more than exercise? And it's obvious. I mean, I know you know
Well, I
the
mean,
answer.
I'm like, what do you want? Nutrition and
Yes.
sleep.
So if
Sleep actually is even more important than exercise.
yes, and if you have low testosterone, check your sleep. If you have
And testosterone for men and women.
Yep.
Because it's just as important for a woman as it is for a man.
And so one of the best ways to actually increase testosterone is by lifting heavy weights. So if you get into the gym and you lift heavy weights and you hit it hard, especially like when you're doing squats and you're doing overhead presses, and you're doing combination movements, that is really good for your hormonal system and for your fitness.
So is cold plunging. It's just a new article just came out on sexual health and cold plunging and how it actually increases testosterone.
I thought if you were over aroused, you were supposed to take a cold shower. Anyway, so if you really want to break down exercise, you should have about 3 hours a week of that zone 2 exercise. And you should do 2 to 3. And I generally say, hey, 3 is pretty good. 2 to 3 bouts in the gym to give you that muscle, that stimuli. Hey, I need muscle mass. Hey, I need testosterone to build muscle mass. And so you don't have to be a gym rat. You don't have to hit it every day. I mean, if you really want to think about it, if being muscle bound and being huge was a thing of health, well, just go Google the average age of a bodybuilder or fitness model and how early they die. Because if you're in that teen body fat, you're 13 to 18 to 19% body fat. If you want to be a healthy female, you want to be at that 18 and above.
Well, and I'm going to add this because this is my nursey hat that comes through because I was a floor nurse on an acute med surge floor, and the fitness people, young people came in and they had a lot of issues. They'd get like Merkel's diverticulum, which Google that one. That one is a precursor to intestinal cancer. We had multiple young people die because they ate so much protein powders. But be careful on the kind of protein powders that you consume because a lot of them aren't digestible and they lie in your intestinal tract and actually promote bad things to happen to you. So if you're going to do that to yourself and you're going to eat a lot of protein powder, make sure you get a high quality digestible protein powder.
Yep. And so when we look at exercise, think about movement. Don't think about how close can I park to the insert store name here. You want to get away and you want to move and you want to walk. Your lymph system, how important is movement? So how important is exercise? Well, let me tell you, if you go to the gym and then you sit all day, you're negating the going to the gym. But if you move continually throughout the day, you're pumping the lymph chain, you're moving water, drink plenty of water.
Well, and for a lot of people, they're desk bound for 8 to 10 hours a day. So just put an alarm on your watch, get a fitness thing where it's as simple as just getting up and sitting down and getting up and sitting down as long you have to move, you can't sit there on your legs.
And if your work won't buy you a walking desk, but you can have one, invest in yourself. I mean, that's what we do. We invest in ourselves. We do all the testing that is outside the norm.
I'd have to have a whole room just for me.
She needs a punching desk.
At the moment, I would need a 4 foot by 6 foot desk to carry on my junk, but.
So let's break it down real easy. So for exercise, for health, so you're getting both. 3 hours a week, so 3 hours in 7 days, split it up however you want to split it up, of zone 2 is very healthy. 2 to 3 times, optimally 3 times in the gym, heavy weights, really get fatigued. You really don't have to hit the gym more than 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to get that muscle stimulus going.
But if you can't, you just start out moving. So my little R ring says I'm in optimal range where I used to be all in the red. Now I'm in optimal range for myself, but you have to keep building. So I walk an extra 1 mile every day on top of whatever I do. But we also line dance an hour and a half every week, and we ballroom dance for an hour.
And so on my side of things, that's what she does. I do the ballroom dancing with her. But for me, I've been going to the gym and working out every day, but 3 days a week are lifting. The other 3 days a week are rolling out, foam roller, keeping things moving, stretching. And then you look at Sunday is typically a day off.
But your most important thing, if you can't do anything else, get down into a squat position like when your children were little, where you're going to get on their level and just hold it there and bounce, because it's your people that lose their balance and fall. It's usually related to the loss of flexibility in your pelvis.
Flexibility and proprioception. So if you're desk bound, it's not hard to get up from your desk, stand there, and just do some air squats, you know.
And the deeper the squat, the better. And that's actually your most stable position.
Mm-hmm. So
and it's a measure of health as far as you get older, is how far deep you can squat and stay there. And it should be that's a natural position.
Yes. And if you get to where you're knocking out stuff pretty well and pretty easily, which I'm to the point that I am actually doing all of my normal stuff without getting winded. I'll be very honest, when the pandemic came through, I didn't think that it actually affected me much. But once I started actually doing some activity, running a little bit, getting on the bike, I lost a lot of wind. And so now that's the good thing about the body. You can train this back into it. And so been on the bike, been going out to the park, and I've already ridden, 20 miles in the last couple of days in the woods. And I mean, it's noticeable. It's kind of disheartening, actually, at how much wind I've lost. But like I said, that's trainable, and I can get that back. So, it's pretty simple. Flexibility and balance work. You should be doing flexibility and balance work every day. And I don't know how many patients I have that go into that I have them in the clinic, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, okay, stand on one leg. And they can't stand on one leg.
But most people don't know they've lost it.
Yeah. And so if you don't know you've lost it, just stand there on one leg. And if you can't stand there for 10 seconds, moving your leg around and whatnot, if you can't do that, you've lost proprioceptive sense, and you need to retrain that back in.
And once you get it with your eyes open, then you need to do it with your eyes closed.
So then you got to be able to stand there with your leg in the air, and you need to be able to close your eyes for 10 seconds. And you should feel that in your feet. And that's the whole idea of being reconnected with your body. But that's something you can do every day. You can do that when you're in the grocery line. You can do that anywhere. But the two strenuous activities are the 3 hours a week of zone 2 and the hitting the gym 3 times a week and doing some heavy weights. You have to stimulate the legs, you have to stimulate the buttocks, you have to stimulate the back. Those are your largest muscle groups.
Well, and if you don't want to invest in weights, so this is another nursey thing. A gallon of milk weighs 8 pounds, so water's a little lighter.
Gotcha,
but most people buy gallons of milk or juice. I'd hope you don't buy juice, but milk. And most people know somebody that at least has a gallon jug, and you fill that with water and you lift it.
I'm getting the dog's tongue. She's wanting to lick on me for some reason.
But anyway, it's about 8 pounds per gallon. So if you have 2 gallon jugs full of water, it's about 8 pounds.
Yep.
Each.
And honestly, you're worth it. Invest in yourself. Get some dumbbells, get some kettlebells. If you don't know how to do the workout, go to a CrossFit gym for a year, and you will know most of the exercises. I don't go to the CrossFit gym anymore. I actually use an app called Zing, Zing, and I just have it programmed that I want to lose some size because I've spent so much time at the desk. I've become so sedentary that I've gotten big again, or bigger, and I want to get rid of it. So I've started exercising again, and I'm using Zing to do my plyometrics. I'm using Zing to do my weights, and I'm seeing changes. I'm already down a couple of belt sizes. And then I decided that I needed to get back on the bicycle because I love being in the woods and stuff. And the first hill I hit whipped my butt. And I pretty much sent her a sob story in a text about, oh my God, I can't believe how out of shape I am. So there is a difference between fitness and health. Health deals with, are you eating right? Are you sleeping right? Do you have or can you do a meditation practice and take care of yourself? Do you have good friends? Do you encompass and embody and live all of these things?
Well, also, if you're always walking, like a nurse on the floor is always walking, and we can walk 10 miles a night. But if you're used to walking 10 miles a night, it's not actually exercise anymore. So then add some ankle weights.
Yep. And you know what? Don't forget to exercise your brain. Learn a new instrument. If you don't play an instrument, learn a new instrument. If you play an instrument, start doing Sudoku puzzles. If you don't like Sudoku, do crosswords. If you don't like crosswords, sit down and build a model. Your brain needs that activity as well. It's not just video games. And I like video games. You can ask her. I play video games in the afternoon with a buddy of mine in Lexington.
Sometimes your brain doesn't need stimulation. Sometimes you just need to train your brain to be quiet. So meditation actually is an exercise of the brain. You're trying to exercise the noise out.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. If you're having problems going to sleep, definitely hit us up, because you've got to be able to sleep. Sleeping is paramount. Here are several health measures that if you're having problems with, don't hesitate to ask us about them. If you're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, if you're not going to the bathroom once a day without straining, and also without spray painting the toilet. It, as gross as this sounds, there's a thing called the Bristol stool chart. Go look it up. Your poo should be a solid snake or log or whatever, and it shouldn't be BBs and pellets, and it shouldn't be liquid. If you're having issues there, you've got to straighten that out. You've got to get either the right amount of fiber in, you got to change the microbiome, you got to get the right water,
and
all of it.
And for people that don't know, you're not drinking enough. Like most people aren't drinking enough. You need to take your body weight, divide it in half, and those are how many ounces you need at minimum a day. But most people aren't drinking enough.
So, that kind of is a big mishmash, but you can exercise and be healthy. I mean, how many people go onto the treadmill and do the treadmill stress test and are told they are healthy, and they go out and stroke out in the parking lot? It happens quite a bit. And so that's why fitness and health are not synonymous.
So you can look the epitome of the health and look like the magazine people, but that doesn't mean that you are healthy on the inside.
Yep. And you can be healthy on the inside and not be fit. So there is a difference there. So I think we've probably beat that into the ground now for quite some time. Yeah. We do have a new page on the integratedhealthofindiana.com. There is a products page if you're interested in the electrolytes that we use that don't have junk in them. I actually like them so much that, in full disclosure, we are invested in LMNT. It's on there. The glasses that we use, I'm not an investor in the glasses. Those are on there. The AquaTrue water filter system that we use is on there. So you can see the products that we actually use. And with that, hope you all have a great night. Be healthy. Get out. It's starting to be nice. And enjoy yourselves.